the Apostle Paul says this lovely thing in Romans 15, and this is from the Passion Translation, which has got a beautiful ring to it. He says, "My dear brothers and sisters, I'm fully convinced of your genuine spirituality. Though I've not met you, I know that each of you are stuffed full of God's goodness, that you are richly supplied with all kinds of revelation knowledge, and that you are empowered to effectively instruct one another. And because of the outpouring of God's grace on my life to be his minister and to preach Jesus, the Anointed One, to the non-Jewish people, I've written rather boldly to you on some themes, reminding you of their importance." So he's writing to the church in Rome, and by doing that, he's wanting to encourage them, and he gives them some quite meaty stuff. He gives them strong teaching and a lot of insights and amazing stuff that Paul brings out in the book of Romans, which is often considered one of the real in-depth letters that he writes, because he feels these people are able to handle that kind of stuff. They can, they're hungry for it. They're people who have got depth to them and integrity and character, and they've got something, that he can give them stuff, and they can take it well. So those kind of people, quality people, often we long for, and Paul senses that he's not met them. Maybe there are people that we'd like to connect with, and who are spiritually hungry, who are really ready to receive stuff, who are open. Maybe that's you. Maybe you're spiritually hungry and open, and you want to be able to receive stuff, but you're just longing for somebody who will teach you, who will encourage you, who will give you good input. And that's one of the things that, often is missed. That we're often surrounded by people perhaps who aren't so interested. Maybe they're not so interested in Christian teaching. Maybe they're not interested in the Christian life, in growing deeper, more mature. But there are people who are. And so that's one of the things I want to encourage you with these videos, to encourage those who watch these videos. I want to encourage you to keep feeding on good stuff and looking into the scriptures, taking hold of them. And in my heart, I'm definitely praying for these to connect well with people who are hungry for spiritual truth. Not because I've got all the right doctrines or that sort of stuff, but just helping people in their walk with Jesus to go deeper. It's about a lifestyle. It's about laying hold of stuff and it transforming us and challenging us and enabling us to walk closer with Jesus and grow into mature Christians. That's what it's really about, most of all. And so I want to encourage you. And I was just watching a lovely little clip. There's a book by C.S. Lewis, a famous Christian author, called The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and that was made into film and lovely series that's been done, certainly a couple of times, of a couple of different versions. And there's a beautiful character that comes out in that series called Reapercheap. And Reapercheap is a little mouse, really. He's pretty small, but what's special about him is he's always up for a fight, and he's always up to defend the honor of Narnia, defend the honor of Aslan. He's a little bit kind of proud, sometimes people think, but he's definitely always willing to get into a battle, and which is a bit of an unusual thing. He's very small, but he's pretty crafty. He can move around pretty fast. So one of the other characters, Eustace, who's quite a difficult young boy, he challenges him to a duel, and he is quite upset that Eustace has stolen something. And of course he despises the mouse. He thinks the mouse is just a little pest, but actually he meets his match with this mouse. So there's a lovely beautiful mural on a wall not far from where I live, an area where they do a lot of wall art and a big festival there. And it's of a little mouse with his fists up against a massive cat, and he's ready for a fight, even though the cat seems enormous, and it's all across this big wall, so it's a pretty enormous cat. And so we can feel that we might not be that important, we might not be that significant, other people might look down on us, all those kind of things. Jesus came from Nazareth, a tiny, what was then a very small village, really, despised, not considered that important. However, when the devil liked to point out that he was Jesus of Nazareth, they met their match every time. Those demons, they met their match, because Jesus is King of Kings, Lord of Lords. So he didn't get intimidated by the size of or the challenge of demonic powers, but he stood up to them with righteousness and fearlessness and courage. So that's my prayer today. And unlike these Roman believers, who were in the middle, right in the centre of the Roman Empire, in the environment where Nero was, and all these kind of situations that happened right at the very heart of the Roman Empire. You would have thought that's a pretty tough place to be for a Christian, for that Christian community to be living right in the centre of all the idolatry and everything else. But they stood up, and Rome met its match with those believers. It really did. And I want to pray that God would strengthen you, and that you be those kind of quality people of courage and fierceness, like Reepicheep in the Voyage of the Dawn Treader, like those Roman Christians who were able to stand firm, knowing who their God is, and being fearless and courageous, knowing that He is with them, and nothing can stand against them because of that, because God is with them. If God is with us, who can be against us? So bless you, and I pray today that we would have a fresh fearlessness, a fresh courage and boldness and strength, and we will be overcomers by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of our testimony, that we would overcome, and that we will be people really deep and mature and rich in revelation and understanding who our God is, a deep, amazing and incredible and beautiful depth and maturity to our Christian lives, and in that we would be able to stand up to however big the challenge might be, however dark the place we might feel that where we live, whatever the demonic forces we might feel might be flying around. May we be people who stand up and be strong, and people who can stand up and known to be people of the truth, and that people realise that we're those kind of people who are fearless and courageous and bold and do exploits for our King. All right, bless you, and I pray that today will be a wonderful day for you as you watch this and as you go forward into all that God has given for you to do.